Good evening on what is a cool, grey and overcast day. It is Wednesday the 29th of June and I'm in the Read Nook with a nice hot cup of tea. And this to, basically unpackage rather than unbox. This is Dyson's Book of Swords and as it says on the back, it is an illustrated collection of 50 magical swords for use within all editions of the world's most popular fantasy role-playing game, published by Squarehex, whom you will probably best know as the publisher of the Black Hack. There we go, just got a visitor in the form of the cat who is not ours, so here we go, there he is. So let me continue on bagging this. Doesn't like pencil. There we go. So little square book, and inside what we have are bookmarks of a sort, each marked with different sword. So there's 3 of these. There we go. Sorry, he's getting his nose in the way. There we go. And then on the back, what we've got is descriptions of those swords. So one of these, let's see, that's the Vigilant and Dash Scimitar, and then Krakengard. So they come in the package as well. The book itself, as you can see, illustrations of the swords on the front and back, and inside we've got this. So this book is the compilation of my illustrations and writing efforts to draw and document 50 swords for fantasy role-playing games over the autumn of 2021. Each sword is presented with full-page square illustration in my black and white style, and a succinct description of the sword on the facing page, detailing its magic powers, along with hints of its history, ownership, and/or crafting. And this is designed by Dyson Logos, who is best known for his cartography. So, 50 swords. There's the full list of all 50 swords, and really kept kind of sweet and simple. Shadow Cutter. This is Shadow Cutter, a +1 sword, +2 against all creatures that live in darkness. That's it. Plain and simple. Start to the book. Got a bit more to the next one. Eomer's Swift Blade. It's said to have slain the demon Zortiadrak. It's a short sword with a +3 hit to bonus, +3 bonus to hit, but no bonus to damage. The wielders may use it to cast light on command 3 times a day. So that's much more interesting than the previous sword. So it's going to go on pretty much like that. Tienko's black metal blade is offset by the white enamelled hilt. There's a skull-shaped guard from which the lower jawbone extends to form the grip and pommel. It is a magic sword but provides no bonus to hit. A creature slain by the blade must make one last save versus death. A failure means that it can never be returned to life by any means, short of a wish or divine intervention. And the wielder of Tienko will gain a necrophilious servant, which assembles itself out of the bones of those slain by the weapon after the wielder has slain D20 creatures with the blade. Nice. So that's it. Honestly, sword after sword after sword. Now that first sword is disappointing. I'm not going to deny that, but it gets better. And I think you've got a couple of little paragraphs there to be interesting. And for example, Wyvern, rough metal and odd asymmetrical sword of Wyvern makes the inlaid golden guard of the blade look very out of place against its heavy green crystal pommel. Sword +1, which on attack of a roll of a natural 20 doses the victim of the attack with a potent poison as dagger of venom. Now, simple combination of elements already in your fantasy role-playing game of choice, but a characteristic sword. You see someone who wields that, fantastic. You automatically give them sort of like the wide berth. and so on. So yeah, I mean, this little book just, I was just thinking about it, that it echoes the kind of, well, I would say the best way to put them is splat books. Splat books at the height of the D20 system era. So in the noughties, when you were getting books coming out, collections of rings, collections of spells, collections of magical items, or magical swords and so on. And there were several of these coming out over the course of the sort of like the decade during which sort of like the D20 system was in effect. And this kind of echoes it, but I think really this is a much smaller book. Doesn't have so much competition in terms of essentially how many other books of swords are there out there, and it also has the benefit of being written in a language that is compatible and uses terminology which is compatible essentially with the world's with all editions of the world's most popular fantasy role-playing game. So that does include Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Sorry to say, if you dislike that system. But the thing is, you can use it with a system of your choice. Dungeon Crawl Classics, Old School Essentials, Labyrinth Lord, Swords and Wizardry. Take your pick. It's there. And mechanically, it's so simple that you can easily adapt it to the role-playing game of your choice. I can see this working in Forbidden Lands. Where you have lots of magical items and they really can be quite special, and they can be made to be a bit more special and fit the setting and the mechanics and so on of the Forbidden Lands. Lots of interesting weapons that you can throw up against your player characters as they investigate and have adventures. Put them in the hands of your villains and your NPCs and make them memorable. And once your player characters get hold of one of these, they're really going to be, we're going to be really pleased. I mean, Traitor, this perpetually stained scimitar was the personal blade of the turncoat ranger Torwald. He used it to slay his liege when all seemed lost at the siege of Schlagisch. The blood of the king still stains the blade, and the enchantments upon it render a sword +1/+3 versus humans. What villain doesn't want a sword versus humans? They are the most ubiquitous race in most fantasy settings. Belladonna, this rapier's owner is often an adjective to its name: silent, cursed, deadly, quick. But regardless of how it is named, it is a swift and muscular sword, +1 of wounding, which is also cursed. The wielder cannot wield another melee weapon, except perhaps an offhand weapon of lesser stature than Belladonna, until they are rid themselves of the blade via a remove curse spell. And I can just go on reading this from beginning to end. Lots of swords, lots of interesting things to add to your game, using inspiration, arm an NPC, give it to a villain, leave it in a dragon's hoard, try and build a story around it, that sort of thing. It's all there. So Severthread was forged for a war against the elves of the Underrealm and their Dryder allies. It has a sword +2 which can cut through spider webs or similar, including those created with a web spell, with a single swing. Furthermore, it prevents any elf from casting an innate spell ability within a 30-foot range. Unfortunately, the blade was badly damaged in a battle in the Demon Web and has a 1 in 20 chance of breaking whenever it deals maximum damage. Fantastic. If you're running a campaign similar to The Night Below, you kind of want that sword in there because that adds so much colour. In fact, I should probably, point that at Scott, who's going to be running that for us. So yeah, lots of different weapons. That you can bring to the table and make your game more interesting. And these are essentially bookmarks with weapons on the back. Actually, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. of Dyson's Book of Swords. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings, and look, where you see me out here, usually with a package, but today with just the book, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. And this evening, the cat who's not ours, he's taken refuge in my lap, so I'm not going to disturb him. Then please do hit that subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.